So my name's Bev Buckley. I live on Mount Tamborine, which is behind the Gold Coast in Queensland. Probably more by accident than by any other way I started growing things. 20 years ago I thought there was no option but to use poisons. Now I understand we don't need to do this. We don't have to go down the poison road in order to grow really, really good food. The challenges are actually that we've been told the wrong story for so long. We've just actually got to teach people and give them the information that they need so that they can understand the truth, because they've been fed a pack of lies. So making the transition from chemical farming with poisons to a much more sustainable farming method is unbelievably important. I think it's the only thing that's going to save the world. If we're going to survive and create a very much more equitable society, then this is one of the ways that we have to go, because the soil, the earth, just cannot cope with the poisons and the inputs that we're putting into it. When I wanted to find out things that were important to help me, I found the support wasn't really there. There are a few commercial companies that actually provide support at a fairly major cost and provide the inputs that I needed, and they were wonderful. And there are people doing quite a lot of teaching and training, particularly in Australia, and they've made a huge difference to many, many farmers. Most farmers are pretty independent sort of guys, and they don't really talk a lot to each other. I know what I had learnt changing from doing things in a conventional way. I understood the road I travelled and how much I had learnt in doing things differently, and I thought anybody else who's done this must have had the same sort of learning experience as I have. They won't have learnt the same things that I've learnt. Maybe they've all learnt something different, and it would be really, really interesting to find out what they have discovered, how they've discovered it, and to be able to sort of find a means by which they could share that. So I decided actually that I would interview farmers and find out whether their stories were similar to mine. From that came this book. I did this by actually interviewing 25 farmers, selected 18 of those who had most interesting stories. They're people from all around Australia. The book is called Transition Farms, and it's about farmers who have started out growing conventionally, who have decided that for one reason or other, whether it be health or whether it be because they are noticing that their properties are becoming less and less productive, these guys have all made the transition from conventional growing to something much more sustainable. Some of them are growing organically and are certified organic. Some of them are growing biodynamically. Some of them are doing all sorts of different things that probably don't have any label. Talking to them and realising the massive amount of information that they all had as a result of 10, 15, 20, 30 years research in the field with a massive amount of study and work. They have come up with some incredible information about how to make a transition from poison chemical farming. They are successful. And the lovely thing about talking to these guys, they are all so much happier now than they were when they were farming conventionally. They want to share it, and they did. So this book contains things that they have found out in their journey, making the transition from conventional farming to something more sustainable, which they believe is going to benefit the world.